How are we doing, guys? LUFC. So welcome to another episode of the Transfer Daily, the first one I've done of this transfer window, and I'm absolutely buzzing to do this one today, as there's been plenty going on, plenty of rumours, plenty of near done deals, etc, and a lot to go through in this video. So I'm going to try and keep it as brief as possible and concise. Let's start off with Ian Poveda. So this is an interesting one, Ian Poveda. Again, it's one where, you know, Conor's mentioned him before. Player from Man City. He's made his debut for Man City last year, but obviously he hasn't been able to get himself into the Man City team. He's played a little bit for the under-23s and the City Academy, and there's been mixed reviews. Let's be honest, there's been mixed reviews on Ian Poveda. A couple of the Man City media teams, I can't quote them all, I've not actually got the direct links to quote. I've been a little bit mixed on Ian there. They said that he's got all the technical quality you could want in a player at the level he's going into for us. But his application is a bit of an issue. His application, but there's definitely technical quality there. You know, I've seen some of the goals he scores. He can play a variety of positions. I think his main positions are the number 10. He can play up front. He can play on the right. He can play on the left. And he's got a good right foot. You know, I think he's seen some lovely finishes from his time at Man City. Some lovely goals. And yeah, I think he looks like a good finisher, a natural finisher, someone who can get himself into the box with the ball, without the ball. You know, his time of his runs looks good. But I think in other aspects of his game, he loses the ball quite easily. I mean, this is not myself. I'm not seeing this for myself. I'm just going off what Man City and media teams have said. And yeah, it's an interesting one really. But I think the application's the key thing. You know, that's something that we've heard a lot about of players we've signed, you know, over the last couple of sort of 18 months or so. And to be fair, there's a perfect manager. You're coming to work to the perfect manager to work with, to work on that side of his game. He's got the technical quality there already. There's already something about his game, and now Marcelo Bielsa has got to take that application and apply that into league matches, from academy football, from training, all this promise, produce it in the league, produce it for the team, the first team, and that's what Marcelo Bielsa specialises in. Look, he's done it with so many players for us. You know, over the last 18 months, he's improved pretty much every single, well, I think he has improved every single player he's worked with since he's took over the job, whether they're still with us, whether they've gone to other clubs, etc, or whether they're in the team now. I think it's fair to say every single player Marcelo Bielsa has worked with has improved under Marcelo Bielsa. And so it's an interesting one. He does look like an out-and-out 10, as well as being a winger. So it's a difficult one seeing how he's fitting the system from the start of games with a 4-1-4-1. You know, I know we do play with number 10 within that system, but it's not really like a fluid number 10 from what I can see of what, you know, Ian's, you know, or Poveda's, you know, skill set. I think his skill set is having a lot of freedom on the ball. That is something I think he's going to find more difficult in this team, because we're a very structured team. You know, we play lovely football, but we're quite structured in how we do things. You know, we're quite organised without the ball. You know, he has to develop himself into this system. You know, it's going to be a big challenge for him, but it's going to be an interesting one. You know what? It's not a massive risk. You know, at the very least, even if it doesn't work out, he's going to bolster the squad. He's going to give us another option, a different type of player. You know, a more out-and-out number 10, something we haven't really had since Samu Saiz left the club. Yes, you could say Tyler Up's an out-and-out 10, but I see him more as a central midfielder than a number 10, to be honest. So yeah, it's a different option to the team, definitely, and that's something we needed. You know, we looked at our midfield options recently. We've been playing Stuart Dallas there, so you know, it's an option. It's an option for us. Whether it's you're happy or not happy about this, I don't know. But for me, he's a very promising player. It's all about the application now. For me, Marcelo Bielsa is that manager who can get this out of Ian Poveda, and that's clearly the same thinking of Pep Guardiola. If Pep allows, you know, this is still rumours. Let's make this very clear. This is still rumours, but you know, from what a couple of strong, you know, links have said, that this is someone who Marcelo Bielsa wants us to sign. I'm not going to say whether that's true or false. I'm just saying what I've seen. That's the key thing to. That's the key point to say about all these rumours. There's about 4 rumours tonight. You know, they're all, you know, they're not me saying this. This has come from other people. So. Don't shoot the messenger is the main thing to say on that. So yeah, that's Ian Poveda. So number 10, he can play out wide and up front. A versatile, attack-minded player who's worked in a fantastic academy. Next person to move on to is Elia Caprile from Chievo Verona. Looks like he's going to be another backup keeper. Only 18 years old. Hasn't played a league game yet for Chievo. Again, as I said, only 18. He's been on the bench a couple of times, so looks very much second choice there. Similar kind of type of signing to Ilan Meslier, you could say, but is this as a backup potentially if Kiko gets suspended? it sounds like this is more likely to be an under-23s kind of signing. But Phil Hay, now this one has got a solid link behind it in Phil Hay, so he's hopefully going to fly over this weekend at some point and may well be signing for us. It's not been confirmed this by any stretch of the imagination, but this one is one that looks quite far, over the line. Very, very close to being sort of a, sort of a medical, a permanent signing as such. But this one, I can't really comment too much on Caprile. I've done a bit of reading on him. Promising goalkeeper, Italian, good with his feet. Very much a modern type of goalkeeper. Comes off his line quickly, good on the ball, but again, not played many senior games at all. He's played a couple of games, I think, for the under 19s. So it's probably one more for the under 23s. This, and there's a bench option if Kiko's suspended, because obviously Meslier will be the first choice keeper in that situation. Caprile will probably go onto the bench in that situation. So it's quite an intelligent one. It's bolstering our squad, and it's giving us someone else in the under 23s as well. So it's potential competition for Kamil Miazek, and I don't think probably won't see Ilan Meslier playing as much for the under 23s in this second half of the season, purely on the basis that I think he's probably closer to first team action after his performance against Arsenal. So yeah, that's that one. There's not a lot to talk about on that one. Again, I can't really comment on it. It's good or bad. I've not seen enough of him. I've not seen anything of him, to be honest. There's no real big consensus whether this is a good signing or a bad signing, but it's been interesting how this one works out. It's probably one more for the under 23s, and get him into the team that way. A bit like Meslier to an extent. So the next one to go on to, and the one which this video is titled after, and the one we all want to know about, Che Adams. Now this one has gone from being close to being nowhere near, to being potential, to being this and that. You look at it with logic. You say this Che Adams deal, being honest, it's one where I look at and think this would be an unbelievable signing for us, an unbelievable signing, the type of player who we need now. A different type of striker to Patrick Bamford, because Patrick Bamford for me has been absolutely fantastic this season. I'm a massive Patrick Bamford fan, and by no means I want to see Patrick Bamford replaced, but I do want someone else off the bench who's different to Patrick Bamford, has different kind of skill sets to Patrick Bamford, like Eddie Nketiah did for the first half of the season. We do need that from time to time, because you can't just be relying on one striker, especially the way we play, the intensity we play at. For another 20 games, we need more than one striker who can perform in the central striking role. And Che Adams is that player for me. It's not gone well for him at Southampton. Let's be honest, it's not gone well for him at Southampton. But it's been quoted as a 30% chance of this happening, on the basis that Southampton are trying to bring in strikers themselves. Southampton are having a striker crisis before they sign these strikers. It's only really Danny Ings scoring goals. Other strikers are injured or are already out on loan. So you look at it as sort of a squad perspective. Ralph Hasenhüttl has already said he categorically doesn't want Che Adams to leave, but there has been little mentions about if they do sign a striker, this could still happen. And Southampton are very much in the process of looking at other strikers. So it's been quoted by Southampton journalists, sort of the equivalents to Phil Hay, if you like. And yet, whose names have escaped me, unfortunately. I apologise for that. But 30% chance has been what it's quoted at, which is better than what it was yesterday, because yesterday it got completely shut off as a rumour. Completely shut off as a rumour by Ralph Hasenhüttl. But so yeah, it's an interesting one. Southampton, their recruitment strategy is a little bit different. Well, it's similar to Arsenal to an extent. It's a little bit different to the traditional way. It's not necessarily just Ralph Hasenhüttl making the signings. There's other bits and pieces, a little bit like ourselves, we've got chief executives, transfer committee, etc, whichever way you want to put it. It's not just Ralph Hasenhüttl's say on this situation. So it is an interesting one. So maybe Southampton are looking at other strikers. Hopefully they are, because this is someone who suits this team very, very well from the start of a game or coming into a game. Someone who can press high up the pitch, plenty of energy, creates chances for themselves, and yeah, he's just perfect for that central striking role. He's strong, quick, just has different attributes to Patrick Bamford, and I think it'll be an absolutely perfect one. Hopefully, this is one that could be a season definer for me. Because if we lose Patrick Bamford to injury, we've all said it, we all fear it, because let's be honest, it could happen. Patrick Bamford has got a history of injuries. He'll admit that himself. We all know that he got injured 2 or 3 times last season. Luckily, he's kept himself fully fit this season. His conditioning's a lot better. I think obviously you've got to give credit to our physios and that lot for keeping Patrick Bamford in good shape, making sure he doesn't pick up any more injuries. Certainly impact injuries, picking up a lot of those early on in his Leeds career, and that's the key thing. If we lose Patrick Bamford to an injury, we've got a problem in the current situation. Yes, you could say Helder Costa can go up top, Tyler Roberts can go up top, But really, we need those players in their best positions for me. I don't think we need... I know, of course, it's a squad game. We won't have players who can play in different positions. But we do need another striker specialist as well. And Che Adams, for me, is that player. Because it looks like Ryan Edmondson isn't going to get the opportunity this season at least. So yeah, that's how I feel on that. I think that would be a very, very, very good signing. Probably, if you talk about the ideal replacement for Eddie Nketiah, that is the person. That is your person, Che Adams. Yeah, absolutely 100% your man, Che Adams. That would be an amazing signing if we can get that one over the line. Being also mentions of us having to pay quite a big loan fee, potentially quite a big chunk of the 15 million Southampton invested in Che Adams. Whether that will put us off or not, I don't know. That is a big risk, paying loan fees. Certainly when it's players where Che Adams, as good as he is, would he get straight into the team? It's a probable no. Being totally honest, it's a probable no. I'd still want to sign him, no matter what. But can we justify a big loan fee? With having to having someone on the bench, it's a big risk. It is a big risk. Of course, loan signings do carry risks. It's one of those really. But that loan fee, of course, the other side of the fence is that if we get promoted, it's peanuts, isn't it? So that's only sort of like reports really of quite a big hefty loan fee for Che Adams if we want to sign him and convince Southampton to allow him to go out on loan, because it does sound like the player certainly does want to play more football. I think that's clear to see. I know he started the cup game, but he's not started for quite a while for Southampton, so you'd imagine this whole rumour has come from somewhere. Conor has alluded to this as well. It has to come from somewhere. It can't just be Leeds. There has to be movement from either the player, the club, the manager, etc., etc. Something must have happened because it's not just us. It sounds like there's some party connected to Southampton who want this move to happen, whether it's the player, whether it's the manager, whether it's the club, etc., etc. There's no smoke without fire. There could be something to this. Again, don't shoot the messenger. I'm not saying Che Adams is definitely signing for Leeds. There's still a long way to go on that one by the sounds of things. But one thing I would say is I'd be more than happy to go to deadline day if it meant we got Che Adams, because there's not going to be a better striker who we're going to realistically be able to bring in January, who's going to be happy to be second choice Patrick Bamford and fight for that first team spot, or first choice, whichever way you see it, I guess. But one confirmed move today is Louis Coyle going to Fleetwood on a permanent, and this last bit of the video is going to be a best wishes for Louis Coyle. I think a professional player, ultimate professional, super, worked incredibly hard, never complained. Came in for a couple of really important games in his time at Leeds. Certainly in the Gary Monk season, he played a few really important games when we had injuries. Certainly remember him playing right back against Derby when we got a really, really important win towards the end of the season. Ultimately a fruitless win, but again, he stepped in when he had to. And yeah, I thought his performances when he played for us was good. I thought he looked a really promising player, and I just think it's circumstance a little bit for Louis Coyle. Of course, we brought in Luke Ayling, probably the best right back we've signed in probably like the last at least 18, 19 years, if not more than that. Of course, Gaetano Berardi can play at right back. We had Sam Byron before Louis Coyle. It's not been easy for Louis Coyle to get opportunities, and I think it is circumstance as well. And I think the way we've performed over the last 18 months hasn't helped matters either. But whenever I've seen him play for Fleetwood, he's been absolutely fantastic. Seen him play a couple of cup games, he looked absolutely solid, and I'm sure he's going to have a fantastic career. I certainly see him being at a league above League One in a couple of years, if not this year, if Fleetwood get promoted, etc., etc. With or without Fleetwood, I do think Louis Coyle has got massive potential. Whether he's been a bit unlucky here, I do think that's the case personally. I can only wish Louis Coyle all the best. I think he's very, very professional. He's been out on loan for pretty much 3 years now. Not a bad thing to say about the club. He's come back, worked hard, tried to get back in the team. It's not quite worked out for him. It's a shame. It is a sad one. That it hasn't quite worked out for him, a bit like Jack Clark. But one of those things at the end of the day, you have to wish him all the best, and I think it probably is best for for both clubs, us, Fleetwood and Louis Coyle, that we'd make this move now really. And he has a bit of certainty in his career now where he actually is now. He's Fleetwood permanently, and I think that's probably the best for all parties concerned. But guys, I'm going to leave it there. I've been Oscar Marriott. Make sure you leave in the comments down below the signings you want to see in this winter window, and whether you're happy with any of these three players mentioned, and Louis Coyle leaving. Are you happy with what's happened today, or potentially going to happen? And guys, I'm going to leave it there. If you haven't done already, make sure you check out our other transfer dailies and the match previews for tomorrow's game against Sheffield Wednesday. I'm going to leave it there, guys. See you later.